Hello, 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 my beautiful souls. I hope everybody's doing well. I want to do this video. I had a amazing weekend. Okay. You guys know what I do. Okay. You guys know I was born psychic. Okay, born psychic. So I went to a convention over the weekend, and some of the same vendors, some of the same people came, and some of some new people came and some old people came. I hope everybody's doing well. Time is not fluent. Whenever you get this message, you get this message. Um so normally it's a holistic convention, okay? Holistic medicine, healers, true healers, okay? Different kind of healers. And I want to tell you a story. So I was at my same stand, 77. Okay. I requested to be at the same space. Okay. 77 is the number for me, I guess. And then I have a beautiful lady next to me. She makes organic coffee. Well, she sells organic coffee. She has a coffee store, okay, where she sells organic mushroom coffee, all kinds of organic coffee, okay. I don't know if some of you guys tried the mushroom coffee. It's very good, okay. I had to bring some home. Beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. So this convention this time was a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So this convention was different because when I was there, um, the Saturday and Sunday was the convention, but Saturday over there, yeah. So Saturday there wasn't a lot of people because they had like so much stuff going on, right? So they had two other things going on while the convention was going on. And normally there's a lot of traffic because people come to this convention for healing, okay? All kinds of healing, right? Everybody is seeking healing in some kind of way, even a psychics, mediums, healers, okay? Reiki, all kinds of healers are seeking some kind of healing, okay? We're not just doing the work as healers, we're also receiving the healing, okay? It goes both ways, and you always have to be humble. Um, and it wasn't, yeah, it was about making money, okay? And it was also about healing first, okay? So I'm gonna tell you guys a story, okay? So this is not the first time I was there, okay? So there was new vendors. So I don't get a chance to really walk around, and then we have psychics that speak, okay? One year I will speak at this convention and many other conventions, okay? About seashell divination, okay? Seashell divination is just a psychic reading seashells and pulling the energy from the seashells as a tool, okay? Nobody has seen this. It's only me and one other person in the whole world that does seashell divination. Now, in Africa, they use crow shells. Okay, there's a lot of people who does crow shell divination. Hi CW, but there's only two of us that do seashell divination. Divination is you're psychic and you just take the energies from the shells, and that's I've always was drawn to seashells. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Okay, so there was a young, she probably was like in her 30s, okay? And she was Spanish. Now, I was picking up like South America, but I couldn't pinpoint where, right? So she was a new vendor. So she comes by my stand, okay? And I say hi. She says hi. Normally when you're at these conventions, you don't like wave people down to come get readings. They come to you, they're drawn to you, okay? And a lot of people came to me or drawn to me. They say, I was drawn to you, okay? And I had people that I read for before come back, okay, to me. Okay, your name is your name in the psychic community. Not just your name, your ability, okay? So when you are psychic, you're here to heal others, and also be healed yourself, okay? So she comes by my booth and she starts talking to us, right? And I said, where are you from? She said, Mexico. I said, oh, that's beautiful. And she was new because sometimes you don't get to meet you don't really have, you have time when you go to the bathroom to look at other people's vendors and stuff like that, but you really don't have time to really communicate. And then I had people coming to my table to hire me for events, okay, to attend their events and get paid for it, okay. A white guy came to my table and he was like, can you come do an event for me, be a part of my event? And I said, yeah, okay. Because when I felt his energy, because energy never lies, okay? Energy never lies, okay? Never lies. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Whew. So she comes by my booth, so she's talking to me and the lady next to me, and I thought she was like from Venezuela, but she's from Mexico. So she asked me what I do, and she said she's new to this show, this convention. She's new to the convention, and I asked her where her booth was. So she told me where her booth was. She told me where her booth was, and I said, okay, if I get a chance, I'm gonna come see you. So it was a lot of slow time on Saturday, but then Sunday it started picking up, okay? And then people started coming all at once, slamming me, okay? So this was Saturday when I met her. Okay, Sunday comes along and she actually comes by my booth, and I can tell something wasn't right with her, okay? I picked it up right away. Her energy was shifted. Okay, she's also a healer, right? But this is the first time she's ever done a convention. Okay, she has read before. This is not her first time reading. Okay, so she says to me on Saturday, she says, "You are of the light." I said, "Yes, I am a light. I am of the light." Right. So, Sunday rolls around and she walks by my booth and I can feel something was very, very off with her. Okay. So she doesn't say anything. So then I go to the bathroom and the lady beside me says, and they're probably on my live right now, by the way. So the lady beside me on my booth, she says to me, such and such was looking for you, right? And I felt in my spirit there was an urgency, okay? So then I'm walking towards the bath, or I think I'm walking towards another vendor, okay, my other friend, okay, I call them my soul sisters, there's 3 of them. And I ran into her. She was walking around the whole place, like pacing, looking for me, okay? And she says, I've been looking for you. And I can tell there was an urgency in her voice and in her spirit. And I said, what's wrong? And she says, the woman beside me. I said, well, what's wrong with the woman beside you? And she says, something doesn't feel right. Okay. So I said, okay, come to my table. So she comes to my table, and I can feel like the urgency in her. It was like she was doubting herself, not just doubting herself. Um, she felt like the lady did something because we left. Okay, so when you guys ever go to an event, so you guys psychics and mediums and people in the holistic community, metaphysical community, um, you leave your stuff there. Okay, I take certain stuff with me. I don't leave it there. Okay, I take it with me. Okay, my seashells. Can you turn it down just a little bit? Thanks. So I take my seashells, I take my cards, and I take specific things, okay, with me for a reason, okay? So let me backtrack. Okay? So normally people have the same stand, okay? When they come back at these events, they choose to pick the same stand unless there is some kind of change. 111. So I noticed that across from me there was two other new psychics, okay? And then my friend said to me Saturday morning, she was like, that's kind of odd, but that's just the way they set it up this time. Maybe they requested it. Who knows? Okay. So one of the psychics, she's world renowned psychic. She has books. Okay. There's books written about her. Okay. She's an older woman. She's like, I think she's in her 70s. But she has books written. Okay. Books written. Okay. Which one day I will have books written too. Okay. But let me finish telling the story. So the Mexican girl sits down. Okay. And when she sits down, I told her, just let's start breathing. So we started breathing. And her heart was beating fast, and I could feel the energy coming off of her was like sadness. Okay. She was questioning if she should even be here. Okay. So I said, let's just breathe. Right. So we started breathing. And I said, talk to me. Okay. So she calmed down. I got her to calm down and she started talking to me. So she tells me that Saturday her business was good. She had people coming to her. She's new. Okay. Most people that come to these conventions, they normally come back to the same reader. If, because your name is your name in the psychic community. Okay. So she was getting a lot of people, okay, because they were drawn to her. They were drawn to her spiritually, okay. So Sunday morning, she said that people were not coming, right? So I said, this is what happens, okay. And she says to me, I question if I even belong here. And I said, no, you belong here. This is why you're here, okay. So I calmed her down. I talked to her for probably a good 20 minutes. And we prayed together. And I called on all her ancestors and my ancestors. So what I seen with the woman next to her was she was jealous of her, the Mexican girl. Okay. The reason why she was jealous is because of her gifts. Okay, she truly has gifts. She has a gift. She's a seer. Okay, a true seer. Okay, and that's why her footsteps were being led to come to the convention. Okay, to meet people, to get her name out there. Okay, and to heal people. Okay, because she can see past the veil. Okay, past the physical into the spiritual realm. Okay. And I told her this. I said, the lady is jealous because of your gifts. Okay. And she wasn't getting people at her booth. Okay. And this happens, you guys. This happens. So if you're in the holistic communities, I want you to be mindful of this. Everybody has their timing. Okay. Everybody has their timing. And you do not have an envy spirit for somebody else's blessings, because if it's their blessings, it's their blessings. You can't take somebody else's blessings. A lot of people out here do life swap, energy swapping, and they take the other person's energy and blessings. Okay, now this does happen. Okay, I've seen this happen in the metaphysical. Okay, where somebody will try to swap lives with you. Okay, to get your abundance, which is meant for you, and take what's yours, but it never works. It always backfires. Okay, so what I did. So I never got a reading from any psychic that has been in that convention. I went to her table after we prayed, after I gave her something to take back to her table, and I blessed it. She said, I feel calmer. So I said, I want a reading from you. So she says to me, okay, she says I don't have to pay her to give her advice, okay, on if there's anything that I see that she needs to work on, right? And I said to the same thing for her, for me, even though I'm seasoned, even though I've been doing this for a very long time, you're always going to learn something. You have to be open to learn, okay? We don't know everything, okay? Everybody is our teacher, okay? Hey, Sarah, everybody's our teacher, and we can learn stuff from others as long as we're open to receive it, okay? Just because you're a psychic and medium, you don't know everything, because you don't. If you think you do, you're a fool, okay? You can learn something from everybody, okay? Anybody and everybody, okay? You have to be teachable, okay? So I sat down at her table. While I was sitting at her table, she was a little bit nervous, and I said for her, don't be nervous, okay? When I told her, the only thing I said to her before she started my read was to speak your truth, no matter what the cards show, because she was using tarot cards, to speak her truth. Okay, always speak your truth. If you're a tarot card reader, if you're a crow shell reader, you have to speak the truth. Whatever you see in front of you, you say it, okay? Because that's the only way you can heal others, okay, is by speaking your truth, okay? So I told her before she started my read, to whatever she sees, I want her to be honest. And obviously I know what the cards mean because they were in front of me. And she thanked me for it. And I said, always remember to stay humble, always remember to stay grounded, and always remember to speak your truth, okay? So she started my read, okay? She started my read, and I could tell her energy. She was a little bit nervous. And then when she started my read, the lady next to her kept looking over because she was shocked that I was even sitting at her table, okay? Because I never got a read from no other psychic in that building, okay? So she was shocked, okay? But I wanted to show that lady that she has support of other people that were there, okay? Because I don't like bullies, okay? And that girl is a true healer, okay? So that's what I was getting. So she was looking over while she was doing my reading. And while she was doing my reading, people were passing by because they were shocked that I was even sitting at her table, because, you know, I'm a reader myself. But sometimes people go to other people get readings, but I've never got a reading from anybody in that convention, okay? But I got a reading from her that day, yesterday, okay? And while she was doing my reading, people were walking by, okay? People were signing my sheet, and I wasn't even at my booth. So I was losing out on money, but I didn't care at this point. Hi, Chrissy. I didn't care at this point because I want to show her that I'm here to support you, because that is a love language, Okay? That is what we're here to do, to support each other and love each other. Okay? Nothing is real but love. Okay? So I let her read me. Okay? And she is a damn good reader. And I said to her, okay, so the lady was walking by and she seen her reading me. And my friend came by and was like, there's people waiting for me to read and for me to do readings. And I said, I'll be there in a minute. I'm getting a reading done. And the lady walked by and she see me getting a reading, and I was like, and I said to the Mexican girl, I said, you're like, I said, you have a gift. You are a real reader. This is what you're here to do. And when I said that, the lady next door in the next booth, she didn't like that. But you know what? The lady that walked by put her name down to get a reading done. Okay. And I said it out loud. I said, you have a gift. You have a true gift. And the lady that walked by, she's a regular. She heard that and she signed her name to get a reading by the same girl. Now I could have took that lady because that lady was waiting for me, but I let her have that. I was humble enough to give a client of mine to somebody else. The reason why is because this is my love language. Okay? Because I wanted to show the lady that was sending the evil eye, okay? Because she was jealous. Envy spirit, because somebody was making money. You don't know what that girl's story is, okay? We're all there for healing experience. We're all there to that love language, right? And we're there to make that money, okay? But we're also there to help others, okay? First and foremost, we're there to help others, okay? So if you're in the psychic community, the medium community, and you think you're there just to make money, you're a fool, okay? You are a fool, okay? You are a fool. So I sat there, I let her read me, and she's like, you don't have to pay me, but I gave her something, okay? Because she took her time, okay, and she did a reading, and I paid her, okay. So what I'm trying to say is, love language is so important. That little moment that I had with her made her feel like she belonged there. And that is what a true healer is, okay? A true healer don't think about their self, okay? They're able to humble their self to see the strength and the weakness in others, and also the strength and weakness in their self, okay? That's a true healer, okay? And when she did my cards, I mean, it was beautiful. It was amazing, okay? And what she said was exactly right, because as a psychic, we take in a lot. As an empath, we take in a lot, and we have to balance taking in people's energies, because some of us, we take it in, and I can tell you and attest to this, I feel everything around me. So I'm taking in all kinds of energies, but I have to have that balance, okay, where I'm not bringing those energies with me, okay? So she read me and she was on point, okay? She was on point, okay? So I knew that at that moment, I wasn't just there to read, okay? Which I already knew that before I came in. But a true healer knows how to humble themselves, okay? Because I could have been like, when she came to me, I can't help you. Do you know what I mean? Or I don't have time, okay? But I felt an urgency, okay? And then she said she was so sad. This girl was so sad where she was about to take her stuff and leave. Now, we have to pay for these booths. These booths are not free, okay? So she was willing to give up the money that she paid for this booth because somebody was trying to intimidate her. Okay? And if you're a psychic out here, a medium, I don't care what you are, okay? Or just a human person with a human soul, a human spirit. Remember, you have to humble yourself, okay? And by humbling yourself is knowing your love language, okay? Because she said she started walking and pacing around the convention because she didn't know what to do, and then she was looking for me, okay? Now she could have went to somebody else. I never met this girl in my life, okay? But she came to me because I had a space for her to come to me, okay? Um and not because of the color of our skin, okay? Because she could feel my energy and I can feel hers, okay? And I can relate to how she's feeling because I remember at a time and a point when I started these conventions, you know, I had mentors outside the conventions, but I had nobody there where I can pull on except for the ancestors, okay, and myself. And her ancestors were there with her, okay? So, and I told her to pull on them because they're here. They're guiding your footsteps because they brought you here, okay? And she's going to do great things, okay? And she will be at the next event. So I told her when she goes back to the booth to block the woman out, okay? Because what she was doing was she was sending the evil eye. And the evil eye, we always say the evil eye or the evil one. The evil eye is when somebody just stares at you that with that piercing stare, and their intent, okay, is not a loving attention. It's a evil attention, like, why are you here? You don't belong here, or, you know, something like that. And that's basically what she was doing. She was sending her the evil eye to intimidate her and make her feel like she was less of a person. But she belonged there just like anybody else belonged there, okay? She had a right to be there, okay? Um, Thank you, Sarah. Yes, it was a very humbling experience. And at that moment, I learned something about myself too. That I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't want to start crying. I don't want to start crying. Whew. I realized at that moment that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And in life, you are truly free when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? And when I sat back down at my table, I realized, I mean, I had people signing my book, signing the book. The traffic was slow on Saturday, but they were signing my book. I mean, people had to come back because I wasn't even at my table, okay? Because I understood that it's not just about me, okay? I understood that, okay? It was a most profound moment for me. It was profound, a loving moment, an understanding moment. And I felt good in my spirit because I was able to humble myself to see the gifts in others, okay? Because sometimes when you're doing this work, you're not, this is why you have to be grounded when you do this kind of work, okay? Truly grounded, because your ego can take over the humbleness of yourself. The ego of yourself can take over the humbleness of yourself. Okay, so you always have to remember to be humble and to be teachable, okay? Because we don't have it all. Okay. Um, we could see as seers, but we don't always see everything. And somebody might see something that you don't see. I feel like somebody says, I feel like, hey Maria, I feel like we were hatched from the same shell. That is exactly how I see and treat others. We can always learn from others without realizing the elevation we gain. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to say what Maria just said. We can always learn from others without realizing the elevation that we gain. That is true. That is so true. Because when you get elevated, and I was thinking about this, I was just like, that lady across from me has been doing this for decades. Okay. She don't have to do this. Okay. I mean, she's obviously financially okay. Okay. She has books that are written, and they're not like, she's not poor by any means. Okay. Um, but she's a healer first. Okay. So when you're a healer first, it's not about the money. It's about the healing. Okay. So it was very, very elevating experience. Very, very humbling experience. And I learned things about myself. And you probably helped the envy lady too. Yeah, I did help the envy lady because when she was reading me, the lady that was envious kept looking over because she was shocked. Okay, she was shocked. Because I've never sat at nobody's table and see people talk. Okay, um, in the psychic community, they talk. Okay, um, and they know who's real and who's not. I mean, because people are getting reads. And they know if you're telling the truth or not, if you're just making it up, like, and if it's not real. Okay. But after that, I mean, the girl was on a roll. And before I left to close up, she came and she hugged me and she thanked me. I would put me her picture up and my soul sister's picture up. She came and she thanked me. She's a true healer. She comes from and when she sat down at my table, I kept seeing the Mayans. Um, and she says to me, she says that she was told that her descendants were Mayan. She was definitely Mayan, okay? Because I was seeing all kinds of like Mayan drawings in front of me when she sat down, okay? So in her past life, she was definitely a healer, and she's definitely had Mayan blood in her, okay? Um, and she had a cliff palette in her mouth, but I told her that we find our perfections in our imperfections. We find our perfections in our imperfections. Okay, sometimes it's just the simple things. um some people overdo it, and the simple things are just better just to be simple. Okay, and I've learned that too. Okay, because like looking back at it, like my table could have been just more simpler. Okay, I was even on the floor reading. Okay, so next time it's just going to be even more simpler, because simple is better than too much. Okay, and I think a lot of psychics need to bring it back to the roots. Okay, the seers, we need to bring it back to the simple ways of reading. um Thank you, Chrissy. We need to bring the simplicity back. Okay, the simplicity. All you need is a candle, your shells, your cards, your crow shells, whatever you use. Well, I use shells, seashells, and only two people in the world use seashells. Okay, I'm one of them, Jennifer Felix. Okay, um, and we just need to bring it back to any of my readers out there. We need to bring back the simplicity, okay, of the healing experience, because people were truly coming there to be healed in some capacity. Even the ones, even us, the readers, okay? Because when you're reading, you're getting healing from the person that you're reading on, and you're also getting healing for yourself, okay? Yes, Maria, I'm glad you say that. So Maria says the client should be drawn to you naturally by instinct. Yes. So I never call people to my table. Never, ever. I engage in people when they walk by, say hello, but they have to be drawn to you naturally by instinct. Yes. And a lot of times they'll come to your table, they'll walk by. There was two people that walked by and I knew they were going to come back. Okay? Because I was drawn to them and they were drawn to me. Okay? So they said, as soon as they walk in my space, they say, I was drawn to you. Okay? Because that's just the way it is. If you're a reading, and there's other readers there, if they go to another reader, that's fine, because they're drawn to that reader. Okay? Because there's a message that the reader needs, and there's a message that the person that's getting read needs. Okay? So like the lady that was across from me, she does Reiki and she does readings. Okay? I just do readings, okay? That's where my strength is. And shells is my strength. I had a woman that came over to me and she said to me, she's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I read seashells. And she was like, well, somebody else in here is doing shells or something. I said, no, they're not reading shells. There's something she has with where, and they invited me to their thing. They have a place in Delaware, and they do like massages and stuff like that. But they weren't reading shells. So, and then the lady came to me towards the end and she was like, this was another lady. She was like, well, we didn't have time to get to know each other, but next time we'll get more time to know each other and stuff like that. And we'll talk more, because everybody has their own gifts. And so the lady across from me was doing Reiki, right? So I started a conversation with her and I said, what do you do? I seen her read cards and she was like, I do Reiki. I said, oh, that's very interesting, because I have friends that do Reiki and all that. To even, watch her do that, because a lot of people do that there. Also, there was people from Japan. Now, I've never seen this kind of healing before. It was very interesting. Okay, so they did the drums. I put that picture up where they did the drums. I think they're from Japan. And so I started talking to this white guy. He was standing in front of the booth, and and I said to him, I said, you're an engineer. And he looked at me like, and they weren't taking money. They were taking donations. Okay. And they were doing some kind of healing. Like the, what do you call it? The monks. Okay. The monks do. Okay. And like Maria said, you're just drawn to somebody naturally. And I was drawn to them. Okay. Because they had true healing, and I've never seen that kind of healing done, and it's an ancient type of healing, okay? And it was just freaking amazing, you guys, okay? But I was drawn to them, and I took a picture. I would put the pictures up, and they did some kind of healing with their hands. I've never seen it. I mean, I've seen it done because there's other people that do the healing with their hands. I do it where I put my hands like over somebody's hands, because I'm exchanging the energy, and they do it the same, like I'll do this and they'll put their hands underneath mine and we exchange the energy, and I get a good read, a good feel, and then we go into it. But I tell them, so what I do is when I do my readings, I say, let me tell you what I see, and then you can ask the questions, because obviously they're paying for the service, so they want answers to some things. So I say, let me tell you what I see, and then you can ask the questions. So by the time I'm done telling what they, when one of my regulars, she came, just a beautiful soul. She needed questions to some things, and I told her, let me see what because that's what I do. Let me see what I'm seeing and then ask the questions. So when I did that, she said, you answered the question. Okay. So I normally naturally tell them what I see, and then I say, okay, what questions do you have for me? Okay. Um, that's how I do it. Everybody's different, and everybody has their own different techniques. The Mexican girl, she had her own different technique. It was interesting. It was different to see that. So next time I go to the convention, I will try to make time to definitely go back to her booth, okay? Because she was good. She was definitely good. And this is what her purpose is. And I told her, I was like, you're living in your purpose and walking in your purpose, but your footsteps are being guided. So I thought that was interesting. So next time I go, I'm going to actually see who I'm drawn to, but I'm definitely going back to her because she was really good. Okay. She knew what she was doing. Yes, they have to be drawn to you naturally by instinct. You cannot force it. Okay. If you're at conventions with other readers, don't get jealous because they have to be drawn to you naturally and by instinct. Okay. That's just the way it is. Okay. Just like universal law. Okay. Of nature. Okay. You flow with nature. You go with nature. You don't go against nature. So if you're going to somebody because everybody's going to them, that's going against nature. You go to them because you're drawn to them. That's natural. Okay. All right, you guys. I just wanted to tell you guys that story because I felt so bad for her. And then the lady next to me was like, she never got a reading. The lady next to me that sells the mushroom coffee, she, I don't feel like she understands because she says, I don't understand the psychic world. But I feel like she believes in it because she says she believes in it a little bit, but I don't feel like she fully believes in it. And that's okay. Okay. That is okay. I even had a guy that was there. They can see if you have like any stuff in your eyes, like glaucoma, all kinds of stuff. Um, I've never seen this before. Okay. So there was different people there and different speakers there, different psychic speakers that have been doing this for a very long time because they're teachers. They've been doing this for a long time. So the lady next to me that has mushroom coffee, I know she's probably on here. I love you. I call her my sister, my soul sister. Um, you know, she said it to me that she doesn't fully believe in psychics. I mean, she does a little bit, you know, and then I had a man tell me that was there's a eye doctor, like they look in the eyes and they could tell you what foods to eat through the iris, okay? And how to lose weight and all that through the eyes. I've never seen that. The iris, y'all know what the iris is, the eye, right? So that was very interesting. So her boyfriend, we just started talking. He came to my table. He kept coming to my table. I thought he liked it. He's there with his girlfriend, but I thought he liked it, the girl next to me. But he was there with his supporting his girlfriend, of course. So he says, I asked him, I said, do you believe in psychics? And he said, no, he doesn't. And that's okay. And that's okay. You know, and I just started a conversation with him and we talked for like a good 5 minutes. But everybody has their own views in life and you have to just respect it, okay? Um and he just is something he just didn't believe in. And the my friend, my soul sister, um she was so raised up in the church where because she showed me a picture of her mother in her church outfit. I know she's on here. She's probably on here. She's my soul sister. I love you. You know, everybody has to come to terms of their own spirituality, and you can't force somebody to believe in something they don't. Okay. Everybody's on their spiritual path of enlightenment, and whatever that enlightenment looks like, that's what it looks like. Okay. All right, you guys. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Just be mindful of being humble. Okay. Because I was sitting there at my table and I realized after I came back, um, that, and if somebody else would have came, I would still would have did the same thing. But it's just, you have to be in the moment, and you have to, like, and I said to myself, and then somebody said to me, they came by my table, somebody that practices alchemy, because psychics is alchemy, alchemy all the way around. And they said they never seen what I did. And I thought to myself, well, one day, if when I have books written and stuff, will I still be this humble person? Will I still be this humble person? And the answer to that is yes, because I'm already grounded. Okay? Because I feel like when you come into a space of enlightenment, or a space of many blessings to come, some people are not grounded before they get in that space. So some people have to go through things to ground their self. You have to, like, actually, like, if you think about it, like, religion is, people go to religion because they fear death. People go to spirituality because they already died, and they know what it feels like to be dead. Okay, CW said, yes, evil eye is envy. I had it happen to me, but I did not let it change the happy, caring, and giving person I am. Yes. Could you imagine, like, even me sitting there Saturday, and I wasn't making the money like I normally was making? And I'm like looking around, like, did somebody do something to my stand? Like, I was like thinking that from the girl across from me, right? Because when she first came, she kept staring at me. Like, and I'm like, did she, did put something, because there was a black sud in front of my booth. And then when I left Saturday, I was feeling very weird. Very, very weird. Okay. Like there was this sadness. Right. So when I seen the black sud, I touched it. Then I washed my hands, and I was seeing what it was. But it was actually, I had black salt. And I put the black salt down. And I was like, and that's why I said we had to be mindful of our minds, because I'm thinking, because the lady was looking at me because she wasn't used to what I was doing. That's just what it was. Okay. She was shocked. Like, what is she doing over here? Okay. Because I was throwing some bones. Okay. Not human bones, chicken bones. So I was throwing them bones with the shells. Um, so could you imagine, like, if I was in that space where I would have been like, you know what, I'm just gonna pack my shit up and go home, because I don't belong here. I'm not worthy enough. And nobody would tell me, like, say to me, Jen, you belong here. And that validated for me too, that I belong here and I'm not going nowhere. Okay. So I feel like as far as religion, people fear religion and death, because people go to religion when they fear death. People that are spiritually already died. Okay. They already faced death. Okay. They look death in the eyes. Okay. And they were reborn, okay, from the death. They had to experience the death to become spiritually who they are. Okay. Yes, the eyes are the window to the soul. I think that's the phrase. So it's interesting that you mentioned those that can detect illness and such. Yes, yes, yes. The eyes are the key to the soul. Yes, you can smell sickness. Yes, you can smell it. You can smell sickness, and you also can smell witchcraft being done, and you also can smell other entities. You can smell it. And that's interesting that you said that, Maria, because I had a nurse that came and sat down with me. Um, and her granddaughter was coming through. Okay. Soon as she sat down, I seen a Caucasian blonde headed girl, beautiful girl. Oh my goodness, you guys. So freaking beautiful. She kept saying 21, 21 2. And I'm like, why is she saying 21 2? Like, what's going on here? And the reason why she was saying 21 2 is because she was telling me that she died at 21 and that her birthday was in February and that they had a candlelit thing for her. Um, a candlelight lighting for her, and that she was there when they had that candle lighting for her grandmother and her mother, and she was actually there watching them doing it on the spiritual realm, and she wanted me to tell her grandmother thank you. And do you know what else is interesting? I'm just going to talk about her reading them and this. She Okay, so the girl loved dogs. Okay, she loved dogs. Oh, beautiful girl. I'm talking about beauty in the inside and out. She suffered from depression, okay? Severe depression. But she was the most giving person. And she never felt like she belonged because she didn't belong here, okay? This world could be cruel. This world can be really cruel, okay? So the grandmother went, okay, so her dog, she's around her dog, and the mother has her dog, beautiful dog. So then she shows me a dog. So she shows me two dogs, one her dog, and then she shows me a new dog. So I said to the grandmother that she gifted you a dog. So the grandmother went to look at a dog, right? And the grandma wanted the dog, but somebody else wanted the dog too. So her granddaughter made it in the spiritual realm so she could have the dog. So the lady calls her grandmother back. This girl is crossed over, okay? I'm not going to say her name because I don't know. You know, I have respect for the family, okay? So the grandma went to go see a dog that she wanted to purchase. So the lady said there was already a buyer for the dog, okay? So the buyer did, so on the spiritual realm, the granddaughter made it that the grandmom got the dog. And that was a gift from her to her grandmother. I can't make this up, okay? It was so beautiful. She started crying, almost started crying, like literally, okay? Like literally, okay? It was very emotional. It was, oh man, she was such a beautiful soul. And the dog, her dog that she left here actually sees her. Okay, the grandma does feel her around. A beautiful girl. Oh man, so beautiful. She was only 21 years old when she passed. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. A very empathic person. So you can see a vision of what you're smelling, like experience you had, or perhaps someone else has had, kind of like watching an old-fashioned 88 movie. Wow, I'm hypersensitive to some smells that offers are not. Yes, okay, so we all have auras. There was actually somebody there taking aura pictures of your aura. Your aura can change throughout the day. Okay, so you can wake up and your aura could be red from your root chakra, or your aura can be green. Okay, throughout the day, auras always change. Some psychics can actually see the auras. I can see the auras. There's a one color aura though that when I see that aura, it's not good for me when I see it. It's like a grayness. It's not the white aura, it's a gray aura. Normally the white aura is an aura of enlightenment, okay? Somebody that's very enlightened, very grounded and rooted and is very enlightened in their spiritual journey. Normally a healer will have that white aura. But there's a gray aura that you see on people, and I've seen it. I look at a picture of my aunt. I might put that picture up. My aunt Ellie that passed away. There was a picture taken with her and my brother and my mother. And before she passed, she didn't even know she had cancer. Okay, she had uterine cancer. She died suddenly. Okay, there, looking at the pictures, and I knew when I visited her something was wrong, like something was gonna happen. I felt it in my spirit, but that gray aura was on her and around her. Okay, and she passed, I think, 3 months. Oh yeah, the grandma was beautiful. Oh, she was a beautiful soul. And the grandma was from my area, okay? And she's like, "Well, I haven't seen you." So I told her that I'll be doing more conventions in my area, and she's like, "We need you over here in our area." Oh, beautiful woman. Oh, beautiful woman. Loved her granddaughter. Loved her granddaughter. Oh, and her granddaughter was blessing her in the spiritual realm with that dog. Okay, literally with that dog. Um, but yeah. So gray. Normally, when you see a lot of gray, and I don't like to say like the crossings, because some people don't like to talk about crossings. Like people are going to cross in 3 months, 6 months. If you see it, I have Tourette's. I have psychic Tourette's. Okay. And I just say things and I don't even know, like it's bizarre, okay? But yeah, I call it Tourette's. So yes, you'll see a great aura. And it was on my aunt the 3 months prior to her passing. My aunt Ellie. My aunt Ellie. Oh, what a beautiful soul. My aunt Ellie. She was like my second mother. My mom's sister. She was the middle sister. She was so beautiful, you guys. My aunt Ellie was so intellectual, way above her time, um, way ahead of her time. And she was actually like the black sheep of the family because she always spoke her truth. She didn't just speak in her truth, she actually lived in her truth and she walked in her truth. Okay? And she was the black sheep. But everything she said was true because, you always have that black sheep, and people always wonder why they have that black sheep in the family. That black sheep is normally the one speaking the truth, and people don't want that truth to come out. So they'll say, oh, that person's crazy. She's crazy. She's a crazy one. No, she wasn't the crazy one. She was the realest one. Okay, my aunt Ellie was the realest one. Because she was speaking in her truth, she was living in her truth, and she was walking in her truth. Okay? So she wasn't the crazy one. She was speaking her truth. Okay? And the information that she was saying, she was healing the trauma. She was healing her trauma, and she was trying to heal the other people's trauma, my mother's trauma, that my mother never talked about, that she was so ashamed of. But my aunt was the one that spoke up. My aunt. And they were calling her crazy. And she was not crazy. She was the one that was speaking her truth. She was speaking the truth. So she was breaking the energetic trauma of the family dynamic. Because if she wasn't speaking the truth of our family, okay, we would have continued living our lives, right? My mother would continue living her lives, right? And hiding her truth. But since my aunt was the stronger one to speak her truth, okay, my aunt, she was the stronger one because she was actually living her truth. She was speaking her truth. And they were calling her crazy. But she wasn't crazy. Okay? Yes, the black sheeps are always the one that is criticized. They don't want the truth revealed. That's what it was. My mom didn't want her truth to be revealed because she was ashamed of what happened to her. But my aunt spoke her truth. She exposed what happened. My aunt was molested. My mother was molested. By my own uncle. He's a lawyer. And everybody in the family looked so highly of him, looked up to him in the family. And I couldn't understand. I always did not feel comfortable around my Uncle Timmy. Never felt comfortable. And I couldn't understand why he always took my cousin Jason with him on trips. And my Aunt Ellie would never let none of us girls go. She was protecting us. And then to come find out after her death, because I know she's around me, that he also molested my cousin Jason. So he didn't just molest my mother, Teresa, and my Aunt Ellie, or my Aunt Lori. He also molested my cousin Jason, that has become an alcoholic. Okay? But he never told nobody what happened to him until his mother died. And he didn't tell me. I was his closest cousin. He told his sister. We call her, my cousin Melissa, we call her Liddy. And one day around the holidays, she said, I have something to tell you. And I said, yeah, what do you want to talk about? And she said, do you know that Uncle Timmy also molested Jason? And I just started bawling. Whoo! Tears were just coming down my eyes. I wanted to call him up. And I wanted to expose him to everybody in the family. Because, to this day, to this very day, he always thought he was better than everybody in the family. Okay, because my mom's side is very highly educated. They're doctors. My daughter will be doctor. They're nurses, lawyers. Okay. My mom's side, they were big on education. They knew that was the only way out, was to be educated. Okay. As black people. Okay. Black educated people. They knew that was the only way out of poverty. Okay. So my cousin Liddy told me that my cousin Jason was molested by my own Uncle Timmy. My mother, her coping of the molestation, if she's watching my video, which my mom's probably not, but me and her had this conversation of what happened. Okay. That Ellie was telling the truth, that she needs to speak her truth, because when you don't heal that family bloodline, because Ellie was trying to heal the family bloodline, she was the healer of the bloodline, my Aunt Ellie, and now it's me, okay, the black sheep, because I'm speaking the truth, and I'm going to continue speaking the truth, okay, because I can't live a lie. I can't do it. Okay, I can't live a lie, because I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to my children. I'm not being true to my grandchildren. The truth may hurt, but it will set your ass free out here. Okay. So my mother was molested by her own brother, and so was my aunt. Okay, and I believe my Aunt Lori was too, my youngest aunt. Okay, but she ran to religion. She ran to religion. And I'm not saying religion is bad, but she ran to it. Okay. She got a doctorate in what do you call that when you get your doctorate in religion? She has a doctorate degree in that. Okay. But the black sheeps are not crazy. They're just more in Maria, you're right. They're just more they're speaking the truth. And people in the family doesn't want the lies and the secrets to be exposed. And people say, well, why should we even speak the truth or even tell people what happened? Because you're helping and you're healing the next generation to come. Okay, you're helping and healing, and you don't have no trauma bonds. You're not attached to any kind of trauma because you acknowledge the trauma happened, right? You spoke about it, right? You healed from it, right? And that trauma bond is broken and you are free. Okay? So you have to heal that trauma because the trauma is energetically carried down to the next generation. Okay? Energetically, that trauma. So say my Aunt Ellie never spoke about that trauma. Okay? Never said that her brother molested her. Never exposed that my mother was molested. Okay? And nobody ever talked about it. Because, you were supposed to be seen and not heard. Okay? Especially in the African American families. You're supposed to be seen, even Hispanic families, even white families. You're supposed to be seen and not heard. No, you're supposed to be seen and you're supposed to be heard. Okay? And I teach my children that all the time. You're supposed to be seen and heard in a respectful way. Okay? Not disrespectful children. Okay? I want to hear your truth. I want to hear how you're feeling. Okay? And I want you to be able to express what you're feeling because that's natural. Okay? It's not natural to hold things inside. So energetically, that trauma, right? So if my mother never talked about the sexual abuse that happened to her, energetically, okay? Well, not my mom. She talks about it now because I spoke it, okay? My Aunt Ellie spoke it, and then I spoke it, okay? So that energetic trauma, right? So they say so if we want to say the sins of the mother, the sins of the father is passed down. Some of that energetic trauma that happened, if you see how it repeats itself with your children, then it repeats itself with your grandchildren and then your great grandchildren because energetically that trauma has not been healed. So you have to heal it energetically so it's not passed down to your children, to your grandchildren, to your great grandchildren, and so on and so on. Because that is a trauma base that you're holding on to. Okay? So your children will feel that trauma from you because you're projecting and reflecting that trauma out because you never dealt with that trauma. So your kids can't understand why you're so moody or why you're so distant or dissociated from reality because that trauma you never healed. But once you heal that trauma and you have somebody in the family that breaks that trauma bond, okay, breaks it, acknowledges it, then it does it. There's no more trauma bond, okay, or codependency, okay, all right. So then you understand, okay, my mother has been this way, so this is why she did certain things this way because this happened to her. And a lot of times you'll see history repeats itself. Okay? It repeats itself from generation to generation because nobody has healed the trauma, nobody has talked about the trauma, so it will repeat itself. Okay? But the black sheeps, the crazy ones, they're the ones that are speaking the truth. Okay? Some of them become alcoholics. Okay, you know how you have that drunk alcoholic uncle, drunk alcoholic cousins. Some people commit suicide because they can't take it anymore. Some people go mad. My aunt went mad. Okay, she went mad. Okay, because she was out here speaking her truth and everybody was calling her crazy. And she started believing she was crazy. She wasn't crazy, and she was psychic, by the way. My Aunt Ellie was very psychic, highly, highly psychic. Okay. She tried to protect everybody, but who was there to protect her? Nobody. Okay, nobody. If my mother would have told her truth when it happened, she could have protected her sister. But she was so ashamed of her truth and embarrassed of what happened to her. If she would have spoke her truth, this is why I say you need to speak your truth, because if she would have spoke her truth and told on my Uncle Timmy, it wouldn't have happened to my Aunt Ellie. Confirmation. But she was so scared and ashamed and embarrassed of what happened to her at a young age by her own brother. I mean, that's some sick shit right there. Okay? Sick. And then I look back and I'm like, my mother is very strong. My mom is very strong. And her way of dealing with what happened to her was working and shopping. That instant gratification. I mean, working is not that instant gratification, but working so she wouldn't have to see her own reality. But as you get older, your reality looks back at you. Always looks back at you. Because you're in that space when you get older, you're more wiser, right? Not just more wiser, you have time to really sit back and reflect, right? And if you do become wiser, you start speaking your truth more and more, because you get to a point where you don't care what people think. Okay? Yeah, I'm sorry about what happened to my mother and my aunt. I really am. And my cousin. Like, honestly, my uncle's walking around in Ohio, a free man, a lawyer, a retired corporate lawyer. My Uncle Timmy. Walking around free. But that's something that he will have to live with. And if I ever see him at a family function, I will confront him and tell him, I know what you did to my mom, my aunt, and my cousin Jason. And that is something that he has to live with. And that's something he has to live with. And trust me, that is definitely has to be on his conscious, his subconscious, his unconscious, and his conscious mind, because he has two girls. One became a teacher, one became a nurse. Okay. And that has to eat at him. Okay. So that is his karma, because karma is being served out here. Okay. And we are the walking karma. Okay. The karma from the generations of before us. Like, for real, we are that walking karma. Okay. So when I do see him, because there will be a day that I will be in the presence of my Uncle Timmy, I will let him know that I know. And he owes and my mother and my cousin Jason apology for what he has done. And then that karma that will come back around, that boomerang, okay, effect, he will have to be, he'll feel that. Okay, when you die, you feel everything that you have done. Everything to others. You will feel that. So he will see what he has done. And he will be accountable for what he has done. So he has to live with that guilt and that shame. Okay? But also, what's freeing is that my mom finally acknowledged it. I mean, to even have that conversation with her, to even acknowledge, I'm like, why would you call my Ellie crazy for all these years, and she was the one that was telling the truth, and you were the one that was lying? I said that to my mother. Do you know how hard that was for me to say to my mother? And because my mother was very firm growing up, um, very firm. So was my father, very firm, but they both were very loving. Um, but everybody has a story, right? But you can always rewrite your story. And she got into nursing, I really truly believe, because my Annie was a nurse, my great grandmother was a healer, um, and to also cope with what happened to her as a child. But she could have saved my Aunt Ellie if she just would have spoke the truth. Okay, my uncle wouldn't have been walking around here free. He would have been a charged man, probably sitting up in jail somewhere. And my cousin Jason, I mean, when I heard that, I mean, me and my cousin Liddy, I call her Liddy, her name's Melissa, we just bawled and bawled. And now I was like, okay, first when his daughter died, okay, he had a daughter, she passed away at an early age. And then he was molested and he's an alcoholic. And I couldn't understand why he was drinking the way he was drinking, because he had a loving mother, okay, a loving mother that would have did anything for him. And I'm like, why is he drinking? And then I was like, maybe he's drinking because he lost his daughter at an early age. But it wasn't just that. It was that he was also molested. But he never came and told me. Maybe because of he was a man and he was ashamed of it. And me and him were tight. But, and I haven't seen him. I haven't seen my cousin Jason, and my cousin, his two sisters, he has two sisters, Liddy, we call her Liddy, and Jessica. They kept at, where's Jason at? He has a wife and children, and he just disappeared. Okay. I know he's not far from me. I tried to reach out to him, the number has been changed. I feel like he's just dealing with some demons. What happened to him, and he just has to figure it out, and then he'll reach out when he's ready. But whoa, that's a lot. Okay, that is a lot. And I know when we have that conversation, me and him, I know I'm going to be in tears, and so is he.